Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. We'll encourage you to continue enjoying your meal and the fellowship with all of our colleagues, but we do want to get started with the program this afternoon. I'm Rick Alloway. I'm an associate professor of broadcasting in the College of Journalism and Mass Communications, and it's my pleasure again this year to serve as your MC for our brief program to honor our university colleagues for their service award milestones, and to also honor our entire campus, our community, and our dedication to this institution. There's no doubt about it that people are our greatest asset and have been since this place opened its doors 156 years ago. Chancellor Bennett is unable to join us today. He's been attending the Regents meeting taking place up at the UNMC, but he has prepared a message for all of us. Here's Chancellor Bennett.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's 2025 Celebration of Service. What a great time of the year to celebrate your exemplary service to our beloved institution. I regret that I'm unable to be with you in person due to a regularly scheduled Board of Regents meeting, but I want each of you to know how much I appreciate your work. You are among nearly 900 employees who are receiving service awards today, 5 of whom served for 50 years, including the 19th Chancellor of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, Professor Harvey Perlman. 2 employees we are honoring today have reached their 60th year milestone, a true lifetime of dedication and service. Regardless of whether you are celebrating your 5th year or your 6th decade, your work matters to our students, and your work matters to countless communities as we elevate education, research, and workforce development opportunities across our state. Thank you for your commitment to helping our students achieve their academic and professional goals. Thank you for your tireless dedication to advancing the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's comprehensive land-grant mission. And congratulations to each of you on achieving this significant milestone.
We're streaming today's event live on the UNL website. We're streaming live, and so for anyone who could not join us today, we send out our congratulations via the internet as well, and our thanks. To put your service records in historical perspective, as is our tradition here, we'll take a brief walk down short-term memory lane and review some of what was happening in the year you began your UNL journey. We'll start with our colleagues celebrating 5 years of service. So what was happening in 2020? COVID. What else is there to say? Well, actually, there was a lot. But for our first group of honored employees recognizing their 5-year service anniversary, coming to campus in 2020 must have seemed a little bit like something out of a sci-fi movie. Shuttered classrooms, locked buildings, everyone in masks, constant drive-through testing, endless Zoom meetings, and it would stretch on like that for over a year, meaning that when campus finally did reopen, some folks probably had to remind themselves that the university expects us to wear pants in class. But there were other things going on that year. Protests for George Floyd in May, student-led protests in Thailand, and following the presidential election in Belarus. Britain withdrew from the European Union, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and a helicopter crash took the lives of NBA superstar Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 others. The University of Nebraska had a new president, Ted Carter, who oversaw the system's response to the pandemic and ushered in the Nebraska Promise, a new financial aid program to make college affordable to more students. And it was the year we welcomed a new group of valued colleagues to campus for the first time. Let's have all of our 5-year award recipients stand and be recognized. Congratulations. "2015 was a year of movement and negotiations. After 6 years of discussion, 195 countries at the Paris Climate Change Summit endorsed a new agreement to aggressively reduce climate change. After 7 years of negotiations, the U.S. and 11 other countries finally reached agreement on the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And after 13 years, negotiations finally culminated in an agreement limiting Iran's nuclear program. It was a year of movement in science as NASA's Horizon spacecraft moved past Pluto, taking breathtaking photos on the way, and NASA confirmed the presence of water on Mars. It was a year of movement in equality. The United States Supreme Court affirmed same-sex marriage. Canada's Prime Minister appointed a gender-neutral cabinet, and Libby Lane became the Church of England's first female bishop. On campus, the Husker volleyball team kept on moving to its fourth national championship. The movement on the football team that year was in the head coaching position as Mike Riley moved in. And in August of that year, Jean Copps proved you should keep moving by completing her undergraduate degree at age 87. Fortunately for the university, some of the movement that year was by a number of new employees who moved to campus to start their careers. And 10 years later, we recognize and thank them for not moving, but for staying and making this a better place. Please stand and let us recognize 10 years. In 2010, after a search lasting 200 years, the remains of Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus were discovered, only to be promptly reburied. After a 54-year run, the soap opera As the World Turns aired its last episode. Conan O'Brien's run as host of The Tonight Show didn't last quite as long, as Jay Leno took the show back after a year. At the box office, the year's big movies included Toy Story 3, Despicable Me, Inception, The King's Speech, and the seventh installment in a series that seemed to have gone on long enough to be titled Harry Potter and His Retirement Nest Egg. Google Trek came to the UNL campus in 2010. For a more traditional trek, UNL students could visit the new Outdoor Adventure Center, which opened its expanded 13,000 square foot facility. It was the year we said goodbye to J.D. Salinger, who wrote The Catcher in the Rye, and to UNL's own Ted Sorensen, who wrote the speeches for John F. Kennedy. It was the year of the first generation iPad, and for the older generation, Lincoln was voted by U.S. News and World Report as one of the 10 best places in the country to retire. Fortunately for us, retirement was the last thing on the minds of our next group of honored employees. In 2010, they were just starting their careers, and 15 years later, they're still here. Please stand and let us thank you for your work. In 2005, Pope John Paul II died. The North Korean government admitted having nuclear weapons, and a terrorist attack on the London Underground left 50 dead and over 700 injured. We gained the nation's first African-American Secretary of State in Condoleezza Rice, and the nation's first Hispanic Attorney General in Alberto Gonzales, but we lost a civil rights icon as Rosa Parks, who refused to give up her seat on that bus back in 1955 and became a symbol of the modern civil rights movement, passed away at age 92. In August, Hurricane Katrina battered New Orleans and the Gulf Coast, leaving 1,800 dead and over 10,000 homeless. In Nebraska, Governor Dave Heinemann took the helm of a state reeling from the effects of a recession, though Lincoln's unemployment rank rated second lowest in the country at 4.1%. On campus, Dr. Juan Franco replaced the retiring Jim Greason as Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. 94 students headed to the Gulf to help Hurricane Katrina cleanup efforts, while ironically, the USDA awarded the university's drought research program $7.4 million to study the effects of having too little water. And a flood of a different sort was looming, this one of publicity, as the campus prepared for the national spotlight to shine on us due to the arrival of a new freshman named Tommy Lee. It was the year of Star Wars 3, the movie, Harry Potter 6, the book, and Xbox 360, the excuse for not getting your homework done. We learned the identity of Deep Throat that year, and we also learned it was possible to transplant a human face. We learned there is a planet in our solar system farther out than Pluto, though it shows no signs of intelligent life. But fortunately for us, there were ample indications of intelligent life that year, as displayed by our honored employees celebrating 20 years of service. Please stand and let us thank you. "2000. Ah, yes, the first year of the new millennium. Or was it? At least the dreaded Y2K bug didn't pan out as had been feared, but one bug that did catch on, at least in Europe, was mad cow disease, while in Africa the battle was on to slow the spread of AIDS, and the U.S. pledged to commit $1 billion to help. Here at UNL, $10.4 million grant from the National Institutes of Health established a viral research center. It was the year the Human Genome Project would map the human chromosome. It was the year Yugoslavia would join the map of the United Nations. And it was the year the world would follow the path across the map of little Cuban refugee named Elian Gonzalez, who was reunited with his family after being found in the Atlantic Ocean. President Bill Clinton expanded the national park system, while his wife, Hillary Rodham Clinton, expanded her political sites by declaring her candidacy for the Senate race in New York. Wildfires scorched nearly 500,000 acres of land in the West, while in the East, another hot property, the Broadway musical Cats, closed after a record 18-year run. The outcome of the U.S. presidential election would result in a bit of a long run as well, with George W. Bush finally declared the winner a month after elections, and we were all introduced to the concept of the hanging Chad. It was a tough year for the state's crops, as a record cold winter was followed by a severe drought. But in spite of all the extreme weather, a crop of hardy new employees took root here at UNL that year, and today we celebrate their 25 years of bountiful service to our organization. Please stand and let us thank you for your service. In 1995, that young Elian Gonzalez was barely a year old. Seinfeld, ER, Friends, and Mad About You were the hot TV shows. Gasoline costs a mere $1.26. It was a year of earth-shaking events like the 7.2 level earthquake that devastated Kobe, Japan. Closer to home, the shock waves were felt from a bomb that destroyed the Alfred P. Murrow Federal Building in Oklahoma City, while the Capitol Mall in Washington, D.C. rumbled with the sounds of feet from Louis Farrakhan's Million Man March. In Nebraska, Holdridge was named one of the 100 best small towns in America, while the state's third largest city, that would be Memorial Stadium on home game days, played host to another national championship Husker football team. The Board of Regents began a review of peer institutions to compare faculty salaries and administrative costs, and the internet was going great guns on the campus, at least until 200,000 gallons of water flooded the basement of the Walter Scott Engineering Building, disrupting internet service on campus and across 7 adjoining states. The federal government ran out of money at year's end, but luckily there was enough left in our state government coffers that year to lure our next group of honored employees to begin work here, and this year they celebrate 30 years of service. Congratulations. "1990 was a year steeped in conflict. Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait resulted first in Operation Desert Shield and then Operation Desert Storm. Elsewhere in the world that year, violence erupted in England over that country's poll tax. East and West Germany were reunited after years of separation, while Nelson Mandela parted company with the prison cell he'd occupied for 27 years. Boris Yeltsin was elected president of the Russian Soviet Federated Socialist Republic. Mary Robinson became the first female president of the Irish Republic. And Nebraska's female chief of state, our Governor Kay Orr, played host to President George Bush as supporters dug into their pockets to attend a political fundraiser. Meanwhile, Sue Hendrickson did some digging of a different sort, unearthing a 50-foot female Tyrannosaurus Rex in South Dakota that year that would eventually bear her name, Sue. That T-Rex was 65 million years old, bringing perspective to the UNL employees who started work here that year that may feel they've been around that long, but it's only been 35 years. But please stand and let us recognize you. 1985 was a big year for benefit concerts. The first Farm Aid concert brought national attention to the plight of America's food providers, while Bob Geldof's Live Aid benefit and the song We Are the World tried to provide food to those in Africa and elsewhere struggling with famine. Mikhail Gorbachev became General Secretary of the Communist Party in the USSR, while Daniel Ortega became President of Nicaragua. In Nebraska, a 47-year-old Omaha woman became the state's first heart transplant patient, while in Lincoln, the legislature wrestled with weighty decisions like whether or not to make the paddlefish the state fish. At UNL, $60 million in renovation and building projects spruced up the look on campus. The Wick Alumni Center opened, and land acquisition processes were underway for a new performing arts venue that would be called the Lead Center. It was the year AIDS first made the cover of Time magazine, the year we first heard the ozone layer over the South Pole was thinning, the year Nintendo launched its first video game console, opening whole new windows for entertainment and carpal tunnel syndrome. And speaking of Windows, 1985 was the year a little software company released its first version of a new computer operating system. I guess it caught on. It was the year of Madonna's Material Girl and the opening of the musical version of Les Miserables, and it was the opening act of new careers for our dedicated 40-year employees we honor this year. Congratulations. We have 8 employees celebrating 45 years of service to the university, going back to 1980. That was the year that saw the passing of Alfred Hitchcock and the assassination of former Beatle John Lennon. In Lake Placid, the U.S. hockey team beat Finland, completing a miraculous journey toward Olympic gold in the Winter Olympics. The U.S. would join 57 other countries in boycotting the Summer Games later that year in Moscow. Poland's Solidarity Party became the first independent trade union in the Eastern Bloc. Raging Bull featured a Best Actor performance by Robert De Niro, while another actor took home a slightly bigger prize when Ronald Reagan was elected president. Washington didn't have all the hot air that year, though. Across the country, Mount St. Helens blew its top with a force that registered 5.2 on the Richter scale. Closer to home, the average new car cost just under $7,000, and you could wash it for a quarter. The drinking age moved from 18 to 20. Governor Charles Stone cut the university's budget by $3 million. Campus buildings were converted to a computerized energy system, and the Nebraska Academy of Science celebrated its 90th birthday. The Who Shot JR episode of Dallas was the most watched program to that point in television history, and Ordinary People won the Oscar for Best Movie. Luckily for us, a dedicated group of extraordinary people came to work that year, and 8 of them are celebrating 45 years of service this year. 6 could not join us today, but in their absence, let's congratulate Barbara Berg from the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture, Karen Griffin from the Office of Chancellor, Raymond Hames from the School of Global Integrative Studies, Dean Kroll from Agronomy and Horticulture, Joan Sampson from Payroll Services, and Rosalie Swartz from Agricultural Economics. What an achievement. Now I'll ask Ben Lenander, the Assistant Vice Chancellor in Human Resources and our Chief People Officer, to join me to recognize our 45th, 50th, and 60-year recipients who are with us to have their photograph taken. 2 of our 45-year award recipients are here today. Please come forward when your name is called. Susan Butler from Landscape Services. Her special guest is the Director of Landscape Services, Jeff Culbertson. Congratulations. And Larita Lang from the School of Computing. Her guest is her husband, Gary. Congratulations. We have 5 employees who've met the remarkable service milestone for 50 years of service, having come to UNL in 1975, which was a year of major technological advances. Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded Microsoft. High overhead, the U.S. spacecraft Apollo 18 docked with the Soviet Soyuz 19, while closer to home, ads in the Daily Nebraskan promoted adding a turntable to your ultimate stereo system. Electronic watches were becoming more affordable. Calculators began showing up more and more often in college classrooms, and the residence halls boasted new and upgraded telephone service in dorm rooms. Mood rings were huge, pet rocks were big sellers, disco ruled. Yes, these were heady times at Nebraska. Spain's Generalissimo Francisco Franco died. 36 nations signed the Helsinki Accords, outlining a policy of détente between East and West, and the last American troops left Vietnam with a death toll of 56,000 Americans and 1.3 million Vietnamese. In New York, the musical A Chorus Line opened, and a new comedy show debuted on NBC live from New York on Saturday nights. Bruce Springsteen released his Born to Run album. Closer to home, Lincoln police asked UNL students to help control snowball fights. And the last surviving King's Food Host closed its doors as another Lincoln tradition was gone. But the tradition of fine university employees was alive and well. 5 of them celebrating 50 years of service to the university this year. 3 were unable to join us, but let's congratulate them. They are David Boxler from Nebraska Extension, Carl Carlson from Panhandle Research and Extension Center, and Harvey Perlman, our former chancellor and now professor in the College of Law. Outstanding service. With us today are 2 of those employees celebrating 50 years of service. They are Dave Aiken from Agricultural Economics. His guest is his daughter, Becky. Please come forward. And also joining us today is Donald Puckett from Custodial Services. Donald? We're not done. Now for another remarkable achievement. We have recognition for employees who have served the campus for 60 years, starting in 1965, which was quite a year for headlines like Malcolm X being assassinated, Martin Luther King Jr. leading 3,000 civil rights workers on a 50-mile march from Montgomery, Alabama to Selma, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which outlawed literacy testing, the Watts riots of August left 34 dead and 1,000 hurt. The Big Bang Theory was introduced long before any of us had heard of Sheldon Cooper or Leonard Hofstadter. Soviet cosmonaut Alexei Leonov became the first person to walk in space, though he would soon be followed later that year by American Ed White. Medicare and Medicaid began providing health insurance, and the first U.S. ground combat troops landed in South Vietnam. It was the year the Rolling Stones couldn't get no satisfaction, the year the hills were alive with the sound of music, the year Sonny and Cher sang I Got You, Babe, and the year John Fogerty and the Gollywogs, recording as Creedence Clearwater Revival, had a hit with Brown Eyed Girl. And it was the year Bill Cosby and Robert Culp would star together on TV in I Spy. The Mustang was Ford's new sports car, miniskirts and the mod look were hot, and Nebraskan David Jansen starred as TV's The Fugitive. On campus, the university turned 96, and to celebrate, they installed elevators in Abel Hall. The grading scale was changed from a 9-point numerical system to the A through F system that we still use today. Pat Boone sponsored a radio program saluting the university. Dead Week was created before final exams. You could get a gallon of gas for 31 cents. And a football coach named Bob Devaney got a whopping raise to push his salary to $22,000 a year. The big headline of that year, however, was the arrival of a dedicated group of new University of Nebraska employees, including 2 who are still here celebrating 60 years of service to our campus. Gerald Varney in electrical and computing engineering was unable to be with us today, but let's thank him for his service. And we are thrilled to share this event today with Bing Chen from Electrical and Computer Engineering. His special guests are his sisters here to help him celebrate 60 years at UNL. Congratulations. Look at this.
I love what you have here.
Thank you.
Very
Congratulations.
enjoyable.
Appreciate it. A standing O. Very appropriate. Let's please congratulate all of these individuals one more time on their amazing service to UNL, those here and not able to be with us. And now I'd like to welcome to the microphone Ben Lenander to conclude our ceremony. Ben?
Okay, thank you, Rick. Before you go, we've got a gift for you here. Why don't you grab it? Yes. So Rick told me earlier, he said that he added up the number of scripts that he has done for us, and there was 29. There's a few years that we didn't have this award ceremony and that kind of thing, but thank you so much, Rick, for continuing to do this. We really, really appreciate it. You're welcome. So as we close this ceremony, I just want to take a moment and have you just look around the room just for a moment. Look at the faces. I know I can feel the energy. I know you feel the energy. It's so great to celebrate. The joy and sense of community in this place is one of the things that makes this place special. Each of you is the roots of this organization. You've stayed through ups and downs. You've shown up when it was easy and when it wasn't. And that kind of loyalty and resilience doesn't go unnoticed. The work that you all do, it matters deeply. Whether you're the first face that a student sees in the morning, or whether you are in a research lab helping make discoveries, or whether you're serving the people of Nebraska in ways that they will never ever see, every role, every person, and every interaction matters here. Each of you is essential to our mission. These are uncertain times that we're in. But here's what I do know. We will navigate this together. The same resilience that brought you to this ceremony today, the same strength that's carried you through the challenges over the years, that's what will carry us forward. Look at the relationships in this room, your teams, your colleagues, the people that you've built something meaningful with. That's our foundation, it really is. So as we celebrate all that you've accomplished, I just personally want to say thank you. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for serving this place and the people of this place. Thank you for being the heart of this place. Let's continue to take care of each other, celebrate each other, and build the future together. Congratulations to all our honorees, and have a great afternoon.